Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we'll be just talking about a few more storm systems, really just focusing on one that could be developing into the later part of the week. And we'll be also taking a look at the pattern, what to expect in terms of temperatures, warmth, cold, what's to come as we enter meteorological fall this upcoming Wednesday. Astronomical fall obviously begins in the 21st of September. I do want to say that before we start this video, my heart goes out to anyone impacted by Hurricane Ida. It's catastrophic. I mean, it intensified into a 150 mile per hour storm, just shy of a Category 5. Was technically a Category 4 at landfall. Pretty much as close as it can get to a Category 5 without breaching that limit. And yeah, right now New Orleans, Louisiana is feeling the true brunt of it, and it will continue into tonight and tomorrow. So again, truly, my heart goes out to anyone impacted, which there are millions currently right now. Even though it doesn't seem appropriate after what I said and how grave the situation is across the South, I do want to say what I usually say, that if you guys you do enjoy this channel, you are a weather hobbyist enthusiast, consider subscribing, liking the video. It helps out. If you have any comments, concerns, leave them down below. Leia, let's get into this video. So first off, I want to take a look at the GFS model and show you what's to come into this upcoming week. I won't be focusing on Hurricane Ida and its impacts. For that, obviously go to the National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service, trained professionals. They know exactly what they're doing, and even if they don't, they're the closest people that do know what they're doing. So if that helps you out thinking in that type of manner, I do want to say that again, at this point, the forecasting part of this is over. It's just seeing what the impacts are and kind of the cleanup of what results in that. But regarding the rest of the United States, let's see what happens. So obviously we have that storm spinning across the south into Louisiana. It moves quickly, actually I would say rather slowly to the north into Louisiana, Mississippi, slow enough where torrential rain will continue falling across many locations. It does weaken, obviously it won't be even a hurricane by the time it really reaches Mississippi or into Alabama, most likely a tropical storm, if even that. And it does interact with that cold front that we showed from this large system that I made a video about yesterday. Notice that's going to trigger quite a bit of showers and storms across Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, and also along the East Coast. A lot of rain headed for those folks across the East Coast. Really more of the coastal areas, but a lot of Pennsylvania, especially southern Pennsylvania. If you live towards the north, maybe not so much. Southern New York, obviously New Jersey, Northern Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and on to Connecticut, Rhode Island, and potentially even Boston. A lot of rain. I mean, it's going to be a lot, just simply put. And of course, a lot of folks there have had already a very wet season. So yeah, if you have to do some preparations for that, do so. Again, it won't have fierce winds. There will be some gusty winds, but again, a very moisture-laden system is headed towards your way at around Wednesday to Thursday of this upcoming week. So that's definitely something I want to mention. While that is occurring, notice there's quite a bit of moisture blooming into the southwest. That does feed into our next system, which is kind of what the video title is about. Notice across the northern plains and into southern Canada, we do have decent rains already occurring, probably really around Thursday into Wednesday. We don't have a circulation or a low, if you will, and notice that the GFS doesn't really do that. I'll show you another model in just a second that does put out more of a closed low pressure and more of a circulation that is tight, meaning kind of a storm, if you will. But still, regardless of what the models do, the impacts are going to be rather similar. They're not going to be horrible, but definitely a lot of rain for some folks across Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska. And you could see that extends all the way into the southwest, almost using like a highway of moisture up into the central United States. This is at this point almost a week from today. This is now Sunday of next week, and notice that the precip showers and the chances they continue into Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, and as we pushes forward into the upcoming week, into Monday and Tuesday, we see another system which the models are really, most of them are showing as well, and this one could be also pretty significant to the cold front. And notice how it turns into an upper level low, and that's why it could drag quite a bit of some cool air down into the really into the United States, and some models are definitely indicating that. I do want to say that this is a relatively fresh GFS model run. It's at 258 hours, and if you're to take a look at the so I can't go further beyond that. But well, I can't even show you 258. But as you saw, there was the 32-degree line approaching portions of southern Canada right there, which isn't unheard of, obviously, but definitely you would expect chilly air. The run prior to this did not show as cool air. It did show a cool down after that big system, but you could see the 540 line barely showed itself, and yes, that would bring a bit of cooler temperatures here for a lot of the Great Lakes, the Midwest, and Northeast, not necessarily the West or the kind of the northern Western Plains, if you will. Just to show you what the previous model run did with this system, it did, sorry about that, develop it a bit more. Notice there was obviously that rain that again starts at around already Thursday. There's that heavy precip maker for the Northeast. Notice it was a bit different orientation from the prior model run. It was a bit further towards the north into more of central Pennsylvania and into portions of the Northeast, Maine, Massachusetts. Yeah, that definitely could leave at least 3 to 4 inches where it passes through, and that looks pretty widespread rain, not just isolated. If you get under a thunderstorm, probably higher amounts of up to 6, 7 maybe. And I do want to mention, yeah, again, so we have that precip right. We don't really have that close circulation from that first system. And that second one, the GFS does develop. It does a similar kind of thing with it, that it develops that cool air behind it that drags that cold front through the southern United States. And that leaves us already at the September 9th. So you can see that it's an active pattern, if you will, 2 storms that we have to watch for, but it's really not a giant precip maker other than for the upper Midwest. There will be on and off chances. I don't think flooding should be an issue. These aren't flooding thunderstorms or, training thunderstorms. They pretty much come and go. Maybe some severe weather associated with some of them, but notice that in the future kind of continued, and actually these models start showing a rather significant storm very far out, and they'll continue to get bigger and stronger and potentially more snowier as we push towards fall and winter. So let's take a glance at the precip outlook through hour 210. So really before even this second one, just to look at this first system, total accumulated precip from it, you could see generous amounts of up to 1 to maybe even 3 inches across the Midwest and upper plains. You could see that it avoids some pockets with no rain. Again, it's far out. This is just an estimate. I would expect that anywhere in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, just expect some rain. Obviously, not everyone will get the same amounts, but especially the later half of the week, expect a rainier week. Same thing with the Southwest, but a bit earlier on. It will be rainy there, really just starting now and pushing forward. Obviously, where that tropical storm remnants go, or really the hurricane remnants, there will be probably a tropical storm depression, maybe an extra tropical system at that point once it reaches the Northeast. A few inches falling for sure. Notice it paints as much as 6 inches in some areas in Pennsylvania. The newer model one shows again some differences. It's a bit further towards the south, but still where it does track, it is there is going to be some heavy rain. And notice it shows similar amounts of rain across the upper plains. In fact, a bit more with the updated model run. Southern Canada as well, quite a bit of precip chances. Again, not everyone will be getting rain. Today there was a line of storms that came through my area. We didn't really get that much, but neighboring areas got a ton. The day prior, we got quite a bit. The neighboring areas did not. So it's just one of those occurrences. I want to show you the Canadian and see what this model does with this system. This is a decent model, and let's see what it shows. So again, there's our system that already occurred today, and it's developing that cold front across Michigan, Illinois, some severe weather with that, and across the eastern U.S. there is Ida. Notice it interacts with that cold front, making it kind of push towards the east. Canadian really pushes it far off the coast. Sorry, not off the coast, but really very, very close to the coastal areas. It barely, affects even New York as a state. It does hit New York City, meaning that it's going to be a much more southern solution in terms of southern track, according to the Canadian, with the remnants of this. You could see almost completely with the heaviest rains missing Boston, which you could argue is a good thing, but notice it does kind of develop an interesting storm once it hits southeastern Canada. Regarding our system across the west, we do again have that moisture across the southwest, pretty much again starting today as we work, or you can see Tuesday, Wednesday increasing more and more, and then by Thursday, Friday starts across the upper plains and Midwest, and that storm doesn't necessarily develop with that first one as the other models did. You can see the Canadian shows very similar features. It's a slow moving system with lots of showers, and it shows a hurricane here, which again none of the other models show, which this would derail a lot of things in the atmosphere, and with this system potentially emerging of precipitation, and that could kind of form form like a hybrid complex of showers and storms. So because just no other models show this, I don't really like the Canadian scenario. But where it does show the heavy rain amounts is where the other models do. And notice it's across upper plains where the tropical remnants go through and the southwest. So really either way you look at it, it's it's in general agreement with the other models. I do want to show you now the European. It's a very, very good model. You can see it on this website. We go a bit further towards the north with that view. So there's our system today, the cold front. There's Ida, obviously producing showers across the Midwest and even as far as North Dakota. Not really directly impacted by this, but it definitely is going to kind of merge with that tropical storm later on. And you can see a lot of moisture towards the northeast, agreeing with much of what the GFS shows, the European, not so much what the Canadian shows. And you can see it affects a lot of the northeast with very heavy rain and, of course, southeastern Canada. Montana, Washington, Idaho seeing some rainfall. Not a lot, but definitely, it's very needed. A line of showers does develop. Actually, I would say storms. I don't know exactly how the severe weather is going to play out here. It doesn't seem like a giant risk. Obviously, though, with any thunderstorm occurrence, there is a severe weather risk. So, just keep that in mind that there could be some rain. There's our low pressure. You can see very, very far to the north, really almost disconnected from the rest of this cold front. And that's why it kind of takes its sweet old time producing showers and really storms across the Dakotas, really just south of really Nebraska, Iowa, especially towards the weekend, starts sagging. And notice that, again, this one could bring back a few degrees of cooler air once it passes through and again develops more into an upper low pressure. I don't want to say that the southwest really remains active and wet throughout much of this time period, regardless of what happens with this system. Notice the European does introduce a bit of that chillier air. I wouldn't say cold or in cold outbreak, but it's definitely noticeable because prior to that it will be rather on the warmer side. And around this time frame, you could see that it does show some colorations of cooler temperatures. And even 6 degrees compared to average would be is nice. So it's a nice fall of kind of almost an early fall air mass. And then notice that the European, like the other models, at the very long range, does start showing another system, which the GFS showed as well. And you could see it also is bringing with some showers a bit further towards the south. And if you recall, the GFS takes this system and wraps that cold air behind it with its newest model run. The European, of course, doesn't go out that far. But yeah, you could see two systems we have to watch for. One, again, will be occurring this upcoming week, and the other one a bit further out. A lot of changes, details can be made to these. This one may completely disappear or dissipate or change its track or become much stronger. Even the one we're dealing with this week could be much different. And of course, we're still dealing with the one across Canada right now into Monday and Tuesday, bringing a lot of the showers and storms across the eastern United States with its cold front piece. And I don't want to say, because I've been focusing on the upper plains, it will start earlier on Monday and Tuesday, really across British Columbia, and then only moving into the plains on Thursday and Friday. It doesn't start overall on Thursday and Friday. It's just that's when it hits the plains, and that's when usually the most severe weather does occur. Those areas are just prone to quick thunderstorm development. And usually when storms come off the sea and through the mountains, really the plains, the open land is the first chance to get at intensifying, which is oftentimes why a lot of the biggest, baddest storms from low pressures occur here during the summer. And notice that that's true with this one as well. Obviously, some storms are possible towards the south, but they're not as profound as they will be potentially on Thursday, early Thursday. So let's take a look at the precip chances according to this model. There are some good, signs. Obviously, the upper plains getting decent rains. The southwest, drought relief, that is good. You love to see it. Arizona, New Mexico, widespread precip of 1 to 3 inches. Utah, Colorado, that is just a gorgeous rain amount right there into Wyoming. Unfortunate news in Northwest. The West is very dry, and that's unfortunate. It's going to be warm more likely than not, also with dry weather, so just really adding insult to injury. Southern Canada, they've been dealing with a very dry summer. A lot of areas do get some rain. Some pockets go unscathed with that rain. They don't really see any rainfall, so maybe unscathed isn't the best word choice to use there. And obviously where the tropical remnants go from Hurricane Ida, there will be a lot of rain. And again, in some portions in Pennsylvania, 6, 7, 8. You can see it shows 9 inches. That probably could get into the double digits. So a lot of folks here are already dealing with lots of rain and water, and this will probably exaggerate it. And again, this isn't exact. It could go a bit further towards the north, towards the south. Pittsburgh's kind of right on that line between heavy rain and lighter rain, but it remains a bit uncertain at this point. But yes, obviously across Louisiana, still tons of rain is going to fall, and that's kind of where it's the worst right now. I want to go back now to the GFS because I'm curious myself what it shows in terms of the temperatures. If you recall, it showed that cooler air mass once around the 250-hour timeline, and I want to see what it does with that. Okay, there we go. We have quite a bit of chilly air here, quite a bit of chilly air up there, and if we were to take a look at the North American view, just so we could see the air mass, well, of course, this one, the larger the view is usually takes more to process, but what I'm trying to say basically is that there's a potential for some sort of a large cool off towards the longer range. And you can see that's the 540 line. We see a system right here that might produce some snow and bring down more cold air. So again, a lot of changes to this forecast are going to be occurring in the longer range, as models often do. But really, the message remains the same for the first, for the storm, if you will, that's in the title. This thing will develop quite a bit of showers activity, and it will be followed by most likely a second one that is a bit stronger and potentially really similar in impacts. Maybe just a bit of that, again, that cooler air sliding in. We'll have to see what it does with this storm. Very, very interesting. All right, that is basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned to your local National Weather Service, National Hurricane Center for the best advice on serious situations. I actually want to show you just the ensembles right before we leave. This is basically a bunch of models put together into one graph, and it gives us meteorologists or amateurs and hobbyists like me a good idea of what's to come in terms of temperatures and kind of what the models are showing. So it's not just one model and skewed in one proportion. So again, you can see that the days are not going to be as warm as the nights. You can see the nights are very warm, and then the days, tolerable. But as we get towards the longer range, where we do see pockets of cool air would be across the Great Lakes, maybe southern Canada, and where we do see the warmth, it's more across the southwest and the west, which really isn't the best scenario. But again, the pattern doesn't seem either to support a heat wave or a massive cool down. If you recall, a couple days ago, I was making videos about a potential cool blast of air, and those still are most likely, they're gonna most likely occur. You can see that the European does show them, maybe not as significant as previously thought, but again, there's constant kind of updates to this, and as you saw, the GFS with its newest model run is starting to show a rather large cool down right here, and a second one following that potentially. So a lot of details are yet to be sorted out regarding that. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya.